Hey y'all, happy satisfying Sunday fun day. I wanted to come to you guys with another video. Like I promised, I want to do something every day and kind of talk about different messages. So for today, I've been seeing a lot on social media. Obviously, a lot of people are kind of whirling from the not whirling, but what would the word be? They're spiraling a little bit from the news that we received that obviously we will have President Trump. And I don't really have to give reasons why that would affect me. It's very clear that I am a woman of color. I'm an Afro Latina and I'm also a lesbian. So obviously this affects me heavily. But because of that, I kind of wanted to talk today about what it is that we can do to grieve the life that we thought that we would be living at this point. And so that's what today's message is going to be about. So when it comes to us as human beings, I think it is like incredibly normal for us to have this like idea set up for how we want our life to be. You know, we're teenagers and we kind of map out and plan our lives. I know that's something that I did myself. I know that when I was about 15 years old, I already mapped out how everything was going to look for me, when I was going to graduate college, what I was going to study, and all of these things, and, you know, where I was going to live. And while I graduated a year later because I took a year off and things like that. Things didn't really go as I planned. And I was the type of person that I used to get super stressed out if things weren't going exactly my way because I was very like my way or the highway. And I know what I want and I'm ambitious and I have goals. And here goes Jade and Topaz in the background, disrupting my flow, but it's all right. We're gonna get together. It's all right. They're just gonna be loud in the background, but please bear with me and try to ignore them. That's also part of the reason I have this little wind muff on top instead of the little styrofoam because I was kind of hoping that it would do some level of noise cancellation with these little lover birds that are always arguing. They're a couple, so please forgive them. But anyways, let me get back on to the flow of what I was talking about. I am a person who I'm a planner. There's things I do spontaneously, but I had a lot of goals. I'm a very ambitious person, so I would have like my life mapped out on like this, and this, and this is how it's gonna go. And obviously, when things didn't go my way because of the fact that I was my way or the highway, I would get super stressed out. I would get super like I just would be super upset. And so I graduated a year later because I needed to take a year off. It was a lot of stress, a lot of things, a lot going on. And so I didn't graduate at the time that I expected. Then when I did graduate, I was like very happy. I was able to move 2 weeks out after graduation and move to Berlin, Germany, which is what my dream was, so that I can, go on with my life and everything. And 3 months in, I lost my mom. And that was not a part of the plan, right? And so that sent a wrench in my plans. And it's through that experience that I learned to grieve the life that I was expecting to live. Because number one, I moved there because I was like, I'm going to find somebody that I'm going to settle down with. I'm going to have kids and I'm going to, send for her to come to take care of me while I'm pregnant, all the things that she experienced with her mother and us. And so it was a lot. And so I had to understand that that was no longer going to be my story. I had to understand that I can have everything mapped out on paper for how I expect my life to go, but that's not how life works. My name is not God, and there's a reason for that, right? God has a plan for us, or the universe, or whatever it is that you believe in. But I personally believe in God, and I've also believed that the universe like helps in all these things. But my point is, I had this plan for my life, and when things didn't go my way, I was devastated and I was upset and I was making things a lot harder for myself. And so I feel like it's really, really important to understand that things are not always going to go your way. But what's important is that you understand that adversity breeds resilience. And so things are going to be up and down because it's supposed to teach you something. It's supposed to teach you how you handle stress. It's supposed to teach you how to come up with a plan B and a plan C and really think about what it is that you want. Because you could have an idea like, this is what I want and this is how I want my life to go. But essentially, things are not always going to go our way. We don't get to pick and choose everything in life, right? So obviously, it's a privilege to be able to pick, choose, and refuse a lot of things. But there's a lot of things that go on as far as like politics and things like that that we don't have a say over, right? Like we don't make the laws. We don't really decide who the president is. Like there's so many things because just because we vote doesn't mean that others voted in our favor. And so with that, I just want to say that I know that it's difficult and it's not really much that we could do about it because at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? Like what the outcome is, even if it's something that we are not content with, we still have to push forward. That is a part of life. It does not mean that you take time to process it and that you're not allowed to feel upset and to grieve, the things that are going to happen. But what it does mean is that you do things that are good for you. You know what I mean? You give to yourself. You speak affirmations, you speak life into yourself. You work hard to make a plan for yourself so that shit really hit the fan, which we're very aware is going to happen, that we at least have a plan. It's like you want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's what my mom always used to say. And it's like at the end of the day, you got to give to yourself because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And so I just want to say that you just have to understand that this is the consequence of it. We're not always going to get our way, but we can always propel forward. We can always find positive ways to move forward, to not constantly harp and think on the negatives, because that's super easy. The negatives are always going to be there. There's always going to be something that is going to be gut wrenching, something that is going to not sit well in our spirit and all of that. But I'm not telling y'all to ignore it, but what I'm saying is the only way to move forward and to continue to create this positive life for yourself is to fill your cup. And remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup, like I said, but our cup is not half empty, it's half full. And once you have that mentality, you're able to kind of move and roll with the punches of life. So I just want to leave you guys on that positive note. And I hope that you enjoyed it and that you can see where I'm coming from and how there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. It's another saying that my grandfather always used to say, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a rainbow after every storm. So though right now it seems like everything is dark and it's impossible to get through, we got to be there for ourselves so that we can be there for each other. So on that note, I'm going to close by saying, remember, divas, loving yourself is the first secret to happiness, so be your own reason to smile. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.